Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. And tonight, have you seen Breen? Basement Politics Unfiltered with Freddy Vazquez. Tonight, episode 8. Have you seen Breen? Mike Breen, council member representing District 5, did an interview today in Westchester, WAG, local businesses and lifestyle. I'm on early today. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, folks. Good evening. Happy, is today Thursday or Wednesday? I think today's Wednesday, right? Happy hump day, if I'm right. Oh, look at here. I got a Tim Hodges pen. Shout out to Tim Hodges. Thinking of you, by the way, brother. But anyway, yeah, I have a Tim Hodges pen here. Thought that was coincidence, now that I'm on Basement Politics. But anyway, good evening. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics. This is season 3, episode 8, and I titled it, Have You Seen Breen? The reason for my podcast tonight and the topic is based on an article that council member Mike Breen, who represents the 5th District, did an interview in WAG magazine. WAG magazine is a Westchester magazine. WAG lifestyle, or I should say local business and lifestyle. And they interviewed the council member, minority leader, Mike Breen. And I thought it was very interesting. And he has some, it's very interesting. And I'll go over that and I'll share the article. And I want to go over his answers to some of the questions, again. And I spoke about this maybe the last podcast, maybe the podcast before that, just in the thinking that goes on, with our elected officials. I don't think they think. I mean, maybe they're just so arrogant. Maybe they just, things have been the way they have been for so long that they just really don't have any filter, any real, consideration to what, to the things that they're saying. And I mentioned this, in a previous podcast because of what John Rubo commented on the Lionsgate post that he made regarding their expansion. And he was so excited about that there were going to be 2,000 union workers on site, but that's not the union workers that I've been talking about. That's not; those are not the union workers that have been fighting to get work on these developments going up, and those are not the union workers that are members of our community here in Westchester County and here in Yonkers, the city of Yonkers. So I just thought it was very thoughtless, and once again, stupidity strikes. Unbelievable. Well, anyway, I want to share this article with you. Let me get it up here. Like I said, Mike Breen is the council member representing the 5th District, which is the district that I live in. So he is my council representative. And I've actually reached out to Mike Breen for some assistance. And what happened in that, and me trying to get help from him, did not align with, the answers he gave here in the article. And I just had to speak on it because this is exactly what I'm talking about. They talk a good game, they play a horrible game, right? And Mike Breen here, he is on his 3rd term. Lucky guy. Yeah. He was around for the, voting of another term, added term. So now he took advantage along with Corazon Pineda, councilwoman representing 2nd District, and Mike Spano, the mayor. All 3 are serving their 3rd term. Mike Breen has another 2 years left. And, has he been doing a good job? I don't think so. I mean, I've reached out for help and I didn't get any. I got 0. In fact, he couldn't even respond to our emails personally. He's the only one that personally did not respond to our emails. At least Moranti responded personally, or at least it pretended to be coming from him, because I know I've sent emails like that. Anyway, Mr. Breen, you say things here in this article, WAG, local business and lifestyle, but you don't really represent the words that you speak. And as my council member, as the one that represents, I'm a constituent, all right, directly a constituent of yours, as I live in the 5th district. And I've seen you, by the way, I've seen you in your gray little truck, mini SUV. And that's how I knew it wasn't you that were in Dobbs Ferry that they parked illegally, blocking the crosswalk. You know, I've seen you around. I've seen you around. And it saddens me that you are someone that does not help, or at least you don't help everybody, although you claim to. But that's not true. Minority Leader Rules. That's the title of this article that came out in December 6, 2021 by Jeremy Wayne. Look at this beautiful picture. That was definitely photoshopped. Yonkers City Council Minority Leader Mike Breen, photographed here. Attending funerals, coping with elevators that don't work, coaching girls softball, and perhaps most important, taking care of his constituents. It's all in a day's work for Yonkers City Council Minority Leader Mike Breen. Right. Straight talking and fast talking and short and with a no nonsense attitude. Mike Breen was first elected to Yonkers City Council in 2011. He was reelected in 2015, and he took advantage of the third term, newly voted in third term in 2018, and was voted in again. He was honored to be elected among his peers to the position of minority leader. Well, either him or Anthony Moranti or Rubo. I'm sorry, Rubo's, that's right, Rubo's Democrat. WAG caught up with the Republican recently between a press conference and a wake. Minority Leader Breen, how did it all come about? I was going to run and this is important here because I've spoken about this. Okay. I've spoken about this in past podcasts. And the reason why I've mentioned this is because it shows, it's a reflection of our election process here, our political process here in the city of Yonkers. You think that if you're someone who wants to be an elected official, or you feel like you want to create change here in the city of Yonkers, so you're going to run for office and you're going to, hope that you get elected by getting, the amount of votes that you need, or the most votes, is how you're going to win. You have, surely going to be mistaken. That is not how it works. In fact, I was at an event once. Let me tell you a quick story. I was at an event once, right around, the elite. I call them the elite, I guess, of Yonkers. And I was at a table actually that had, really well-known elites. Actually, I was fortunate to be put there. I sat myself in the corner. I didn't feel like I needed to be up there, but the host of the event sat me up front, and I was like, okay, cool. And so I was around individuals, and there were specifically two people there. One of them was an elected official. Oh, wanted to become an elected, and I don't want to say the position because I don't want to give too much information, but they wanted to run for a position here in the city, and the person that they came with, who was a relative, and that's all I'll say, did discourage the person from running because they said that it's not your turn. Right. And this is the relative saying this, right, to someone who's looking to run, like excited. I want to run for this, and they're like, no, you don't do it now. It's not your turn. You have to wait your turn. So the fact that there's this idea that you have to wait your turn if you want to be an elected official, if you want to run for office here in the city of Yonkers, you can't just run whenever elections come up if it's not your turn. It's insane. It blows my mind. And the way people speak about it is like, that's okay. Like, that's part of the political process. Like, that's how it is. You don't just run a campaign and, put out signs and put your platform out there so everyone can hear what you intend on doing and hope that they vote for you to win. No, you have to wait your turn. Well, It's not a myth, folks. It's not a myth. It's not a myth. And Mike Breen tells us that it's not a myth. So, again, the question, Minority Leader Breen, how did it all come about? Well, he says, I was going to run in 2003 and I was told to get out. It wasn't my turn. No, I'm not meant to say turn, so I won't say it. I don't know if that guy meant to write, I didn't mean to say turn, so I won't say it. It wasn't my time. But anyway, I got out in 03 and I came back in 2011 and was elected. And we had a three-way primary and a three-way election. So I earned my stripes and I've been on the council since then. Unfortunately, possibly, you know? So you heard him. He said, I was going to run in 2003, but I was told to get out because it was not my turn. Then he goes, oh, I didn't mean to say that. It wasn't my time. So he tries to change it up. I don't know if that was intentional or he was being sarcastic. He was joking and he doesn't care that, he just said that. And, people should be concerned if that is true. You should be concerned. Right? So next question, Mr. Breen. He goes on, and you had your own career, obviously away from politics. So how did you find the time to combine the two? Well, Mike Breen ran a limo company for 35 years. That's something I just found out. However, it went out of business in 2015, to which he blames Uber. No, yes. And I'm going to, as I go on in this interview, show you where he kind of contradicts himself, right? And he also isn't really insightful. It shows that he's not really an insightful individual. And I get it. He's I believe 67 years old, but he just says he says this here, talks about Uber, right? Ran a limo business for 35 years, but in 2015 he went out of business and he blames Uber. He goes, I think everybody can blame Uber, but for 35 years we were a very good business. We were of our time and people liked the service. Then I got elected to city council in 2012. I thought it was 2011. So that curve was going in one direction while my business was going in another. We closed the shop in 2015 and I made politics my full-time job. Okay, well, he needs to earn an income. So we know that. He says it very clearly. His business, closed up after, Uber started to grow big. But I thought you had a limo company. I didn't know Uber had limo company or limos. Anybody knew that? Does Uber have Uber limo? But it says limo company. But anyway, so he closed shop in 2015 and he's been doing politics ever since. That's his career now. That's how he earns a living. That's how he pays his bills. That's how he keeps his lights on and his water warm. Right? So is the reason you are representing the 5th district because you want to make sure that you represent them well and you do a good job for the people of that district and as well as the city of Yonkers? Or are you there to find ways to generate revenue now that your business has closed up? And I'm not, look, it happens. Businesses close all the time. I get that. And I'm not, it's unfortunate. But in 35 years, that's a very long time. So you did well. But is this now your retirement thing, and how you supplement your your retirement money that you get now, your whatever it is that you may have set up for yourself, so we have to know this because I want to make sure, at least me, and I think everyone should want to make sure that the people who are elected are passionate and truly there to make change and not simply looking to supplement their income when their businesses shut down or supplement their income along with their very lucrative businesses or utilize politics to create opportunities. Or I don't say create, they're there, you take advantage of opportunities, right? To make money, and getting more business somehow, right? So we have to be, aware of this because again, and I know some people, and I've met, a lot more people from District 5. I don't go around and hang out in my hood like that. I might go to the CVS, from time to time. But I have met some people that are from my district, and I met many of them were parents and teachers, concerned with the vaccine mandates here in the city of Yonkers. So it's very important, if you are someone that lives in District 5 and are paying attention to the vaccine stuff, watch the show as I go on and see what your representative, Mr. Mike Breen, how does he feel about these things? All right. So it's very important because, again, he could possibly be the District 5 representative for another term. Who knows? If they vote on a fourth term, he will be able to take advantage of that. And he will be in there for a fourth time. And I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, it's about time we have some change. Okay. It's about time we have some change. Right. So he goes, now next question. Talk me. I'm assuming it means take me through a typical day. And then he responds, because he's a comedian, before the elevator broke or after the elevator broke. And what he's talking about there, and I was in City Hall yesterday, is the elevator that's been out of order for months now. So, what does the creative one known as Minority Leader Mike Breen do when the elevator at City Hall has been out for months and he has to work and he has to get to his office? Good one. He goes, the elevator in City Hall doesn't work. They're going to fix it in another month. Right. So I spend less time in City Hall. So that's what he does. I spend less time in City Hall. Check this out. And this is why I titled the podcast, Have You Seen Breen? He says, I work in the field, and then I call the office, getting constituent things fixed, whether it's getting the city trees trimmed or problems with the building department or potholes to be filled. Right. Well, I don't know about the trees getting trimmed. Maybe so. I don't pay attention to that stuff, but I do pay attention to the building department, right? And Mike Breen is someone actually that we reached out because he is our representative. We reached out to him, and when we were having our issues with the building department, and we didn't really get much of a response at all. We didn't get much of a response at all. And in fact, he had one of his staff members reach out, simply, point us in the direction of the building department, pretty much. And, we could have done that. We were hoping that he'd be more involved. At least Moranti, at least pretended that he was going to come by and never did. Right. At least Moranti pretended to come by. But Mike Breen was like, nope, whatever. He didn't even make an effort. He didn't care. However, he says that, and this guy's getting paid by our tax money, right, to work. But because the elevator in the City Hall has not been working, which it has not been working for months now, he has not been going into the office. He's working in the field, quote unquote field. How many people believe he's actually working in the field? So have you seen Mike Breen out in the field? I haven't, right? When I reached him to help with the business, being that I'm one of his constituents, I got nothing. If he's out in the field, why didn't he come to the business? If he's working on problems in the building department, why didn't he come and assist and find out what the issue is and make it a point? This is the reason why I am trying to make the building department better. This business owner right here, who is a constituent of mine, reached out to me, and immediately I did my job. That's how it should have been. However, that's not what happened. It's not what happened. So again, that's another bogus thing that he's saying there. And filling potholes, okay. What do you think, guys, about potholes? I mean, everyone talks about how bad the potholes are, how much they've memorized the potholes, right? Because they're there for so long. Anyway, so he continued on to say, at City Hall, we have committee meetings. The city council meets every Tuesday. One Tuesday is our rules meeting to see what we are going to discuss the following Tuesday at our council meeting. So that's where I am on Tuesdays. But otherwise, I am out in the field attending flag raisings, civic events, wakes, and in fact, I'm going to a wake right now after this interview. So he says that unless it's Tuesday and he has to be there to meet, right, which he can then make it up to the meeting and to City Hall. He doesn't need the elevators to be working at that point. And I get it. He's an elderly gentleman. All right. Okay. But he's not in City Hall. He is out in the field attending flag raisings, civic events, and wakes. And I hope he's not attending too many wakes. I don't want to, I hope not a lot of people just dying, but that's what he seems to be doing, but he's not helping his constituents who are trying to get their small business their small business opened so they can then service the community and then employ people in the community. That's your job. That's your job, not flag raisings, and civic events. This is unbelievable, Mr. Breen. Honestly, and I was talking about Ron Matton, and I mentioned him several times in episodes prior, and I said how much I believe Ron Matton wants District 5. Right, all his signs there were pretty much in District 5, and he was running a citywide race, so it didn't make sense to me unless he was really focusing on District 5 or wanted to hedge his bets, right, in case he lost the city council race, which he did. Then at least he'd get himself known in District 5. And I've spoken to Ron Matton many times. In fact, Ron is a more personable, likable guy than Mike Breen. Mike Breen doesn't seem to really want to speak to you unless he maybe has a liking for you in particular, but he doesn't even respond to his emails personally. So I get his staff. Ron Matton, I speak to the guy. He has ideas. He's not talking about it'd be a great idea if we do flag raisings or attend civic events, right? And he doesn't just say, oh, yeah, we're trying to improve the building department. He actually comes with the logistics, right? He actually comes with a detailed plan. And when someone calls, he responds, right? And that's what a real elected official is all about, right? Having real ideas, real tangible ideas, real workable ideas that make sense, that can actually be put into action, and not just a lot of talk and a lot of fluff. And him mentioning that he helps the building department, he's working on that. When I reached out to you and I got the emails, I was going to show him, but I'm like, do I have to really prove it to you guys? I mean, I have the emails, but it basically just doesn't care. He doesn't care. And that's a total lie. So I don't care if they do a fourth term, Mike Breen. You're out of here. You're out of here. I'm voting for Ron Matton all day if that's the case. All day. All day. But that's just my opinion, folks. You do what you want to do, but I'm still going to present you the information, right? So which which is why I promised, okay, not to keep him long. The interviewer says, he talks about Empire Casino here. He goes, today I was at the Yonkers Empire City Casino because there was a big press conference. We are asking New York Governor Hochul to let Yonkers have a gaming casino, not just an electronic video casino. So that was a big thing today, and I was happy to be there. Yes. They're trying to bring, full-blown gambling here to the city of Yonkers. Governor Cuomo, and I'm actually starting to like Cuomo a little bit more as we have this new governor, and as I hear things like this, right? He didn't want to bring it. He also didn't want the mask mandates also in the schools, but he didn't allow Yonkers to have full-blown gambling. And I mean, the argument for those who support it is that it will generate revenue. But for one, that's a lie. That's a lie. I'm not saying that it doesn't generate revenue. It does, I'm sure. But does the city really see that? I mean, what is actually being done with that money, right? That was the big thing. We're bringing Empire Casino to Yonkers, and they're going to be giving all this millions of dollars to the schools and stuff. But we're still constantly complaining about the schools. They still lack. You're telling me that the millions of dollars that this Empire Casino generates yearly isn't enough to develop a sustainable and sustain, I should say, a robust sports program in our schools, a music program. We can't get a band, you know what I'm saying? A nice band, with some up-to-date uniforms. The field at Gorton, can you please put some grass on that thing? Right? Why do they have a patch of dirt in the middle? And it's been like that forever. It's been like that since I used to play at North Yonkers when I was in the football team, North Yonkers Knights, when we used to practice on Lake Avenue, right? It's always been that way. So, I mean, where's this money going to that was supposed to go to the schools from the casino? I see a lot of people gambling. I know people that gamble there all the time that borrow money from me. Well, not no more. I don't know. But I used to lend people money, to help them with bills and stuff, not to put the information out there. But what I'm saying is that, if you're going to the casino all the time and you have to then borrow money from an individual just to pay, your rent, your cable bill, your cell phone bill, car insurance, your parking garage bill, then you shouldn't be gambling. But there's an addiction that comes with gambling. So let's introduce a vice in order to generate money. What impact will we have? Money is not good. All money is not good money. Money is not good money at all. But all money is not good money. Remember, it is the root of all evil. So let's introduce. Want to bring prostitution too, Mike? Let's have prostitution as well. We'll keep it to District 5, right? We'll keep it in your district, not my district. I'll be the commissioner of the prostitution department. All right, Mike, how about that? I mean, I just think it's a horrible idea to introduce, a vice in order to generate more revenue for the city of Yonkers, because there's so many other ways that it can be done if you were just creative and actually wanted to impact individuals that you're buddy with, right? But you don't want to hurt these guys, I guess, so to speak, because you're not going to hurt them, right? We're supposed to be generating so much money from the Lionsgate, from these new developments. Why do we need to bring in gambling? And again, in the economic times that we're in, people should not be wasting their money gambling. And that's just going to encourage more people to spend more money that they don't have. It's going to develop addictions, right? It's kind of like the opioid thing, right? And then when they put it out there, they didn't know that people were going to get addicted. Really, you're putting heroin in prescription pills, and you don't think people are going to get addicted? That's kind of on my mind today, because I don't know if you guys were able to catch the Yonkers Voice interview today, where they interviewed the mother of the young 18-year-old girl that was killed because of fentanyl. She overdosed on fentanyl. It was given to her by an adult. And because the adult called 911, he's being protected somehow by the Good Samaritan law. So, we don't need to have these vices and these addictions. I mean, we're just going to do further damage to our community in order for what? To make money, right? So I don't think that that's smart, Mike Breen. I think you should go and get creative. Maybe we should not give the developers such big breaks, Mike. Maybe you should fight that. You ever thought about that idea? Lionsgate? Well, not Lionsgate, but the developers and the landowner of Lionsgate getting all these tax breaks. Why? And then we need money, so you want to bring in a vice. It's just not a good idea. I mean, we have kids. It's not a good idea, right? So then Horseshoe let Yonkers have a gaming casino, not just an electronic video casino. So that was a big thing today. So, and I don't like the woman because of her whole vaccine things at all. So I wish she would get out of that office. Anyway, how are relations with the new governor? I never met her, but they're going to be better, I think. And this is important right here. This is important because, especially for parents who have mentioned this at board meetings, at school board meetings, about the state and the federal government, establishing these relationships with local politicians in order, for them to enact these mandates that they want, and then they get this money. So this is important, because it kind of gives a kind of a view into that, into exactly what they're saying there. He goes, but I think they're going to be better, the relationship between the new governor and the city of Yonkers officials here in Yonkers. They're all asking her to give Yonkers the gaming license that the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, refused to let go of. Things are going to change, and that'll be a positive change. Right. Really? This is, again, we're told one thing, but we don't see what they say is going to supposed to happen. Post-COVID, we need the casino to switch to being a full-time casino. The employment, the tax money, the opportunities. So that was a classic day today and a classic event to go to. Really? So he believes it was such a classic event because we're going to get full gambling here in the city of Yonkers. Well, hopefully we don't get a bunch of individuals addicted to gambling now. Again, like we could be more creative, Mike Breen, with generating revenue here in the city of Yonkers. We don't have to introduce vices or expand on vices that are here already. As you say, you're out on the job, right? There's a question to the interviewer. You're well known locally, and people must recognize you. This guy's crazy. Do you get buttonholed? Do you stop people to talk, or do people stop you? He goes, Mike Breen says, funny you say that. When I ran for office, I went and knocked on doors because that's how you get elected. But I ran for re-election. I didn't have a strong opponent. No surprise. Surprise you even had an opponent. And knocking on doors was like a half-hour event every time. You didn't cover much ground knocking on doors. So now I don't knock on doors like I used to. I do train stations instead because people can't stand around in train stations. They have a train to catch. They have to keep walking. That's why I like train stations. I don't mind talking to people, but going to door really doesn't work. So basically, he doesn't want to sit there and talk to you for a very long time. He just wants to say, hey, I'm Mike Breen. I'm running for the 5th district. Please vote for me. Okay, thank you. See you later. Have a nice day. And then if you do vote for him or he gets elected, you'll never see him again after that until it's time to vote again, right? And then he'll be back at the train station with his cards and whatever else he has there. He doesn't like to go door to door. He's the first person that I've said that, because elected officials, when they or anyone, candidates, when they're campaigning, they actually pay people to canvass and knock on doors. So it's that important that they spend money on it, and it's part of their campaign budgeting, money that they spend. So, is it laziness? Does he not just want to walk? Does he not need to walk? Who's really running against him? He said it. I didn't have a strong opponent. I had a weak opponent, right? But again, many times we see these elections go on without an opponent, right? Ask Corazon Pineda. She defeated the ghost man or woman, right? So, that's not okay. I mean, what's up, Republican Party? I mean, I should say in that case, Democrats. So Democrats has strong candidates in certain elections, but not for District 5. Why do you think that is? Because they're one and the same, and Mike Breen is on Team Machine. So it doesn't matter. He's good to go. He's in there. They're not going to challenge him, right? So he says, so that's pretty much what he says there. The next question, you've known Yonkers for a very long time. 34 years, I think you said. Tell me how Yonkers has changed over that time. 3 questions in one. The Yonkers you knew, how is it now, and where it's going? And it's important, right? We want to know where it's going, right? As people who live here, do we want to stay here or do we want to get out of Dodge? Anyway, he answers by saying, the Yonkers I knew growing up has cleaned up a little. The politics is also a little bit better than they used to be. A little bit, though. Just a little bit. Not too much more better. People will tell you that there's less fighting in City Hall. What? Did I not tell you this guy was out of touch or what? Was he snoozing during the Tasha Diaz, Shanae Williams a whole battle at the City Hall at the chambers there? Mr. Breen, were you knocked out? Were you snoring? I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that anywhere. Maybe in some third world country, but I don't know if I've seen that here in America. I'm surprised somebody didn't take their shoe off and fling it across the chamber there or throw pies, right? So what are you saying? That things are better? I'm glad you said a little bit, because I don't think they're much better if they are better. That's so out of touch. Again, unbelievable. There's less fighting in City Hall, right? How many people have gotten threatened to get effed up? Where we were an industrial city at one time, we're not anymore. We're cleaning up the waterfront for residential use, right? And those with a lot of money that come from the city, so we can look like Brooklyn. Who wants to look like Brooklyn? We're Yonkers. I don't want to look like Brooklyn. I want to look like Yonkers. Annapolis has a beautiful waterfront. That's great for Annapolis. We don't quite have that yet, but we like to get there. And we used to not have major hotels, but now we have 5 because we're near Manhattan, and you can spend a lot less staying in a major hotel than when you go to a hotel in New York City. We have a Hyatt, a Marriott, Hampton, and you guys know all that stuff. So he's excited about that. He's excited about making Yonkers overcrowded. He's excited about bringing in people from all over just to stay here in Yonkers so they can go visit the city, right? And great. That does what? Right? It does what? I mean, it does generate revenue in certain, to a certain extent. But how does that translate to bettering Yonkers for the people of Yonkers? Right? For the people of Yonkers, not for people that want to visit New York City, not for people looking to get out of the city but still be close to Manhattan. The people that have been here forever, whose kids are in school now, who they've gone through the school system themselves. That's who I want to hear you guys talk about more. And it doesn't seem that that's who your focus is. Okay. And so anyway, moving forward, next question. He goes, and you mentioned the mayor. Mayor Spano has been doing a great job the last 10 years. we were one of the few cities to have new street lights that are really energy efficient. That's not true. That's not true. And I'm going to tell you why. Have you guys heard of smart cities? Have you heard of smart meters? Well, all the cities throughout the United States and even the world are getting these new street lights that are energy efficient, and they're getting the smart meters, right? That's supposed to be better. I don't know, energy efficient too, I guess. But really, what they are is they're, more digital. They have more digital technology. They're really like computerized. So these street lights will be able to read your phone as you walk by. That's what 5G network technology is all about. And it's not about a conspiracy. It's a fact. I mean, go look it up. And they're looking to create what are known as smart cities. So you can have all this technology. The street light is reading your phone. It shows you what all this stuff. But really, you're just going to be tracked, watched. And so the government is giving money and funding, build back better, and all that stuff to put up all this stuff in cities and municipalities throughout the United States so they can have this, this network where they can go and spy on everybody, right? And just think of Edward Snowden, right? Think of Edward Snowden. So I wouldn't be too happy about that, Breen. And you're a Republican, and usually Republicans don't like things like that. You're supposed to be like the patriots, right? The guys who always anti-government, not anti-government, but want freedom, want less government intervention in our lives. But you're allowing more intervention by having these street light go up. And I'm glad that I educated you, Mike Breen, because you should know exactly what's going on there. Okay, so Yonkers is not one of the few. All of them are going to eventually get it if they haven't already gotten them. And like Detroit, we will be getting facial recognition technologies in the city cameras. Yes, that's a fact. Okay. And I'm sure they'll mention it for some cool reason, which is not. And of course, there's been a huge amount of investment in the city in recent years, which looks like it's continuing. If the rents start climbing again in Manhattan, and which they will, and Brooklyn, then Yonkers is a big alternative. Actually, they're not climbing. They're going to be going down probably as more people move. But Yonkers will be a big alternative. We're already a big alternative. They're already coming here. We have train stations that get you into Manhattan in less than a half hour. It's less than a half hour to get there. Is that true? Maybe the tip of Manhattan, and most likely they're not going to be heading there. They want to go into Times Square and stuff, and that's going to take you some time. Probably be about an hour trip, folks. What are your real challenges now? Things you would really like to get done. Perhaps issues that you struggle with and find difficult to bring into effect. So this is, again, back to the building department, something that I'm very passionate about. We're trying to straighten out the building department. Well, so why didn't you help me when I came to you for help? You could have utilized this opportunity to showcase just how messed up the building department is, and help one of your constituents, and help a small business move forward, and help families get services, and get individuals from our community hired. Why, Mr. Breen? Why didn't you care? Why didn't you care if this is what you're saying in this article? Huh, Mikey? Why? And I don't like liars. I don't like liars. Anyway, we're trying to straighten out the building department. I don't know if that's subjects come up before, but we have a building department that should be computerized, but hasn't been. If we could get it sorted out in the next 2 years, I could put my feet up and then light up a cigar and say that we really got the job done. But with the fire department and the police department, everything is up to snuff. Yeah, don't get snuffed. Really? Really, you want to just, once you fix the building department, now you did it. You just completed the mission. You can put your feet up and you can light a cigar. It's not healthy, by the way, not healthy for your age, right? Is that really the fact? What about helping people, right, that are having difficult times with the building department? You didn't help me. Don't kick your feet up and light that cigar because you didn't do much. You know what I mean? Well, I guess you did stuff for yourself. You can enjoy your life, and your relationship with the majority leader. Is it a good relationship? Yep. This is prior to the new majority leader, Tasha Diaz. Yep. Corazon, Pineda Isaac. Yonkers, my majority leader at the time, and I get along. The Republicans voted for her. Hey, Republicans, listen, voted for her for majority leader. When we had a choice to make, we went with her. If you took 10 political items of the big scope, we probably wouldn't agree on any of them. But locally, we agree on how things get done in Yonkers. Really? Of course, because you're on the same team. You're playing for the same team, the same coach, the same owner. You have to. It's obvious. It's obvious, right? It's obvious, which is why you also agreed to vote for Tasha Diaz as majority leader rather than Shanae Williams. That makes me question your judgment. And you can't blame it on Alzheimer's or whatever you call it, or so you can't. Dementia, none of that stuff, Mike. You're still going. So that makes me question your judgment. It does. And as a Republican, which I'm not, I'm saying if I were a Republican, I would definitely be questioning your judgment and wondering, are you truly a Republican or are you a Republicrat? Which one are you, Mike? Right? So you've shown yourself to be one of the players within the machine. You have. You absolutely have. Absolutely have. All right. So everything that you guys are doing is for the developers, which is what you agree on. Right? You care about these guys, the wealthy. That's who you care about. Moving on, I know a little bit about your involvement with St. Joseph Men's Club, and check out how he just arrogantly admits to, having special treatment. Moving on, I know a little bit about your involvement with St. Joseph Men's Club. Are you still active there? Yes, I'm the softball coach for the girls' team, 20 years plus. That's my therapy. The men's club has a girls softball team. Okay, young girls. That's my therapy. In the spring, that's what gets my legs moving, right? What about working your job in City Hall then? That should be getting your legs moving. There's a lot to get your legs moving. It gets me out the house, right? Because his job doesn't, since the elevator doesn't work at City Hall. And it's good to be a councilman, check this out, because I get my permits pretty easily. So for all those who have issues with permits, and I'm not necessarily talking about building permits here, we're talking about permits to do events at parks or what have you, and maybe you had some difficult time or didn't get them. Well, that's because you're not a councilman. If you were a councilman, you would get them pretty easily, according to Mike Breen. So you do get special treatment in that way. The field's usually pretty well maintained for me. Yes, unlike the field at Gorton High School and unlike many fields, excuse me, throughout the city of Yonkers. But because Mike Breen, right, the one and only, he does his girls softball coaching there for the men's club, that all gets taken care of for him, right? Because he does what they say. Vote Tasha Diaz, majority leader. Okay. But it's good to get out with the kids, and I'll continue to do that for a few more years. Yeah, until you're done in politics, and then you go and live your life, and you don't care about softball no more. But you mentioned that the time will come when you put your feet up and light your cigar. Any future plans, and this is also important, personal ambitions to share? Well, I'm 67 now. I've got 2 more years on city council, and for sure, I'm going to find something else to do. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you're setting that up right now. Let's check this out. I'm a licensed real estate agent, although I don't practice. You sure? You sure? You probably are practicing, right? That's probably what you out doing when you don't go to City Hall because the elevator's not working. You're out there selling their property. But my wife is a licensed real estate agent, allegedly, anyway. My wife is a real estate license agent or whatever, real estate agent. So that's my other activity, assisting her in that in the future. Setting your wife up with a lot of what's going on here. Is that so? What company does she work for? I got to check that out. See what deals was she involved in. I heard that she may even be running for the 5th district. So we'll see. We'll see. Lastly, we haven't talked about COVID. Tell me about ways that that it's changed the city and what you see as any lasting effects. And this is also important. This is really important. And this is definitely a community thing, but also just even on a bigger level. But it's important. So you're talking about COVID, how it's changed things, and he answers, "We're getting too easy on Zoom. On the city council, our in-person committee meetings have been optional. Actually, you guys still have trouble with those things. And the meetings, in-person meetings have become optional, right? So yeah, of course. And the brick and mortar stores have been hit hard, right? People have discovered, if they hadn't before, that it's very easy to have things delivered to their home, and I think that will continue. But the good news is that right? This is the good news, right? The good news is that our Yonkers sales tax grows because when they shop online, sales tax is now funneled to the location. And that's very important. And I'm explaining in a second. So our sales tax is the beneficiary of COVID. And I think that's going to continue. Yes. And why is that? because they're trying to encourage people to do more online shopping, further disrupting and hurting brick and mortar businesses. Now, this interview was on in WAG magazine, which is local business and lifestyle. So, local business, there won't be anymore if you allow these online Amazons to continue to dominate, right? And shutting more businesses down, hurting people here locally. And that WAG magazine is going to be WAG local lifestyles, right? Because there will be no more local business as brick and mortar close down. People are encouraged to shop online, right? But hey, it's all good as long as the Yonkers gets their sales tax. That's what we care about, right? And what does that translate to? What does that sales tax translate to in terms of doing things here for the city and the people of the city? Is it because you guys are excited you're going to get the sales tax and then you're going to pocket some of that money and be on your way, right? Because how does it benefit the city, right? Again, so we don't see much happening. We're still complaining about the same stuff, yet he's talking about Empire Casino and that how it's going to be great because we get full gaming and the taxes that it's going to bring. But we've heard that before. Same thing with Lionsgate. The expansion is going to bring all these taxes and the revenue is going to generate. It's going to be great for the city. We've heard that before. I mean, how many times are they're going to just repeat that same line, just adding a different company, a different business to it, right? So I just thought it was out of touch. It just gives you a good, as an eye opener for me. It's an eye opener to, and for everybody, it should be of his mindset. He doesn't care about local businesses. That's obvious. He don't care about local businesses, right? He's just concerned with Yonkers getting their sales tax, and that's great. He should be fighting that. And in fact, the council is actually, or if they didn't already, were looking to vote to get rid of there was something that passed legislation where it reduced or kept the cost of those food delivery services like Uber Eats and stuff and Grubhub down, but now they want to bring them back up because all they care about is the companies. What about the people? Right? That's going to affect the people because the businesses, they always pass down their all their expenses as much as they can down to the consumer. Everything's always get passed. You raise the taxes, the cost of goods goes up, and what they have to buy from their wholesaler, guess what? Prices go up, and we've seen that happen. I went to the ShopRite over there in Scarsdale, or Scarsdale border thing over there by the Scarsdale Ford, and I bought some boar's head ham. I bought a pound of it, and I looked at the price. I said, wait a minute. It doubled pretty much. I think a pound I used to get it before at one point I was getting it for like $6. Then it was like $9, $8, $9. Now it was like $12, almost $13 for a pound of boar's head ham. So prices are going up, and people are losing their jobs. So Mike Breen, I don't think that, this brick and mortar closing and people utilizing online more is a good thing. And I'm not saying people are just going to stop doing that. However, we have to find ways to encourage the local businesses to prosper more. And Mike Breen doesn't seem to really care about that, right? He's focusing on his wife's real estate career. He's a licensed real estate agent. That's very interesting. Do you work for Rand Realty? CRN or whatever that's called? Huh? And when are you guys going to get the elevator fixed in City Hall? It's been like that forever. Why hasn't the building department come there to shut you guys down or give you a violation yet? Right? Because they're busy out messing with guys like me, and my representative, Mr. Mike Breen, is busy trimming trees because he sure isn't helping people with the building department. So he must be trimming trees. Okay. So it's very important. It's very insightful in some of the things that he said there. Again, going back to he mentioned that he ran in 2003, or he wanted to run, but it was not his turn. As he was told, it was not his turn. Again, that goes back to what I've mentioned in prior podcasts. We have a waiting line, guys. You want to run for some kind of position. You want to be an elected official. There is a waiting line. So it's like you have to take a number, just like the deli at ShopRite when you go buy your boar's head ham. What number are you? What number was Mike Breen? So these are coveted positions. Once they get them, they don't want to let them go because there's so many opportunities to grow. So even if your business at 35 years goes under, it's okay because I just found a new way to make money. And my wife's a real estate agent, and so am I. We're going to sell these properties like crazy. We're going to know what's going on. We're going to make the money. And that's what it's all about here. So either way, he has his plans. If they seek to add a fourth term, that's probably what he's going to do. Run again. I mean, he was very recently doing fundraisers. I guess you need money for the next 2 years, right? But if you don't use that money, where is it going to go? Or is that part of your retirement fund? Is that like that little jar that they have? You know, you go to a business, they have my 401k. I see that in some business. This is my 401k. Is that what your 401k, Mike? Right? You're going to do fundraisers with 401k. What are you going to be doing with that money? Or is that for the girls softball team? Well, they already take care of you over there. They keep the grass nice and green for you. They give you permits with no problems because you're a councilman, right? So you get special treatment already, Mike. So yeah, so that's I just thought that was an interesting interview. I thought it was a bit out of touch, and I haven't spoken about Mike Breen, right? I haven't really mentioned him a whole lot. So I said, hey, here's an opportunity to do a podcast on Mike Breen, my representative for District 5, guy who has let me down, guy who has let a lot of people down, even the Republican Party. By the way, to the parents and those who I've met here that also live in District 5, who at school board meetings and stuff, this guy will sell out your child. He will sell out your children. He's all about the money that can be generated, right? All the money that could be brought into the city of Yonkers, the federal money. So that means that we have to implement mandated vaccines for everyone. He's going to do just that. He's going to do whatever to make sure that we bring in money to the city, but not because he wants to utilize that to better the city in some way, right? So what do you want that money for, Mr. Breen, right? Because you guys killed the housing ordinance. You didn't do anything for the people, right? And I get it. You disagree with the majority leader, but you guys actually agreed on that. You guys agree. Well, you disagreed at first, then you agreed on it. So he says that in terms of major big scope things, he and the majority leader, well, that was Corazon Pineda, I guess. But again, they still disagreed on the housing thing. So you guys don't always agree on local things here in Yonkers. That's another lie. Everything here was a bunch of lies, nonsense. He's excited about Governor Hochul. So if you like her, he loves her. Don't vote for him again if they do a fourth term. Let's get him out of here. Go retire somewhere. Go to Omaha. You look like Warren Buffett's little brother. So, I mean, head out there. All right, we're done with you, Mr. Breen. You're no help. I've witnessed that. Other people have witnessed that. You say it yourself. You know what you're all about, and we're going to get rid of you too. All right, folks. So if there is a fourth term for whatever reason, and you must vote for a Republican, vote for Ron Matten. I'm just saying. I'd much rather have Ron has real ideas. He's, again, he's someone that actually, comes, you ask him to come and eat. Hey, can you join me for breakfast? I'd like to speak with you. When I wanted to speak to someone about my building issues, and I know Ron, he knows a lot of people, and he's also, works in some stuff with the county and construction, things like that. Or he's whatever, but he, I thought he might be a help. He met me. He actually met me, right? And we spoke, and I've heard his ideas, and he has a lot better things, more substance than this guy here. Just saying, because it looks like that's what Ron Matten wants. It looks like he wants District 5. So just saying, don't let this guy's wife either, all right? So anyway, I'm Freddy Vazquez. That's my podcast for tonight. Have you seen Breen? Mike Breen, council member for the City of Yonkers here, representing the 5th District, my district. Someone who I know personally that does not help you if you reach out. He won't even answer your emails personally. That's the type of representative that he is. It makes the excuse of not being at his office in City Hall more often because the elevator is malfunctioning. It's been like that for many months now. And he says he's out in the field. If he's not helping trim city trees, he is helping with the building department. Well, he must be trimming city trees because when it comes to the building department, he is useless. And I have the emails to prove it. Time for change. I'm Freddy Vazquez, and I'm going to continue to be consistent coming after you guys. Please keep doing these articles like this. Please keep doing so. I need the content. I need things to talk about. This is the joke, Mike. It's a joke, Mike. It's a joke, Mike. No more waiting in line. We're going to go with who the people want to see elected. That's it. Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics. I'm out of here. Peace out.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy.
No!
Wow.